Before I get started with this commentary, let me give a shout out to Ashen for sending it to me. And this story is coming out of Georgia, where we have a story of a true Dub S. And you know how the old saying goes, you don't get fired, you merely get transferred. But this guy got more than just transferred because of this guy's connections to where he used to be, to where he ended up being at, to now where he is. Like, this guy literally, it's almost like he caught lightning in a bottle a few times. But this man's name is Chester Doles, and he was once a member of the Klan. Like, he actually had a high-ranking position in the Klan for the chapter in which he was a part of. Then he went on to be a cop. Then within that time of him being a cop, he ended up beating a black man for whatever reason, probably for the simple fact that he is black. But now he's about to take on his best role yet, in which he qualifies for office for some political position in the state of Georgia. Like, it's almost like this guy never met any type of consequence at all in his life. From the time he was able to join the Klan to where he is now, it's almost like he's never faced any consequence. And I typed his name into the search bar, and I'm seeing pictures, younger pictures of him when he was in the Klan. I'm seeing pictures of him when he would go to these rallies and all types of stuff, and when he was a cop. So, yeah. Let's go ahead. You know what? Excuse me. I spoke too soon because I thought he was a cop. He was never a cop. Let me change that right quick. He was never a cop, but he was a part of the Klan, and he did beat a black man while being a part of that Klan, and now he's qualifying to run for office. The key words there is qualify. So I guess the qualifying factor was the fact that he beat a black man. I don't know if he beat him within an inch of his life, or if he, just beat him just badly enough to do some damage. But let's go ahead and get into it. A former Klan leader has qualified to run for office in North Georgia. Chester Doles once held the title of Grand Caliph of the Invisible Empire, Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and now he wants to be a Lumpkin County Commissioner. This will not end well if he gets in. Most of his leadership experience is in what he calls white activism. He was a member of the Nazi political organization National Alliance and Hammerskins, a racist skinhead gang. Doles also served time in prison for beating a black man. Doles, however, said he is reformed and has repented for his past racial transgressions with the help of another Republican and black preacher, Derek Grayson, of course, the token Negro. He needed to find a way to overcome his past transgressions, and who better to help than some boot-licking, corn-shucking, shucking-jiving, tap-dancing buffoon. He told CBS 46 if the late civil rights activist Hosea Williams and U.S. Representative John Lewis could run for office, so could he. And notice he's using black people to elevate himself, to try to excuse what he has done. I don't think that this guy could get past anything that he's ever done in his life, but he's using black props and black people, and one of them who is deceased, in order to make his talking points seem seen in a positive light. If you look at Hosea Williams, he was on the city council. He was arrested 168 times. Congressman John Lewis was arrested 68 times. So that's not a reason to disqualify someone. But that's the thing. Those two individuals did not do what this guy did that got him arrested. This guy beat a black man up for the sake of being black. He was a part of one of the most popular and well-known Dub S groups known to mankind. There's no comparison. He's actually comparing black people being arrested for, I guess, standing up for their own beliefs while not being violent against another group. And we know John Lewis wasn't going to do anything compared to what this guy ever did against white people, because that's just the kind of person John Lewis was. He spent most of his life while he was in his position talking about getting his butt whooped. There's no comparison. He's actually using a straw man argument that they got arrested, so did I, so why can't I run for political position because they got arrested too? Okay, whatever. Don't matter if you're out there for the civil rights movement, then I'm a white civil rights activist then. His argument is terrible, but this is what qualifies, apparently. In September 2019, Doles told 11 Alive News he was a fourth-generation klansman raised with the signature white robes hanging as heirlooms. What did we tell you? This is part of the heritage. Participated in the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, which led to the death of a counter-protester. Doles was convicted on federal charges in 1993 and served 4 years in prison for beating a black man. He also served 4 years for federal weapons charges starting in 2003. Doles told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution the incidents were each misunderstandings or extended circumstances. If he says so. Misunderstandings. Are you kidding me? So you beating a black man was a misunderstanding? And you having served 4 years for federal weapons charges was also a misunderstanding. First off, what's misunderstood, well, not misunderstood, but was definitely wrong is the fact that he only spent 4 years in prison for both of those. When we know if the roles were flipped, it would have been way more than 4 years. Doles was arrested in 2016 because of a brawl in a local bar where authorities reportedly identified him as a leader in the Hammerskins. He was arrested he was sentenced to probation. Doles told reporters in 2020 he renounced racism. So he renounced racism just 2 years ago? And you expect us to believe in all the years in which he has been an active Dub S that he has now suddenly turned over a new leaf in the last 2 years? While using some weak strawman arguments at the same time. Doles said he now runs a new organization called Patriots USA. Okay. It has a political agenda that echoes current talking points of some Republicans. He also opposes critical race theory and the Black Lives Matter movement. This sick, insane culture of wokeness is destroying America. I thought he denounced racism because we know when they use that woke, when they use it, we know what they're talking about. We know exactly what they're talking about. These people want us gone. We American patriots are the new most endangered species. And by we and patriots, he's talking about white people, specifically white men. Let's not get that twisted. He ain't thinking about black people. Doles reportedly told to a small crowd on the campaign trail. As a Lumpkin County Board of Commissioners member, Doles will be a part of the policymaking body for a county of 33,488 residents in north central Georgia. The current board of the rural county consists of only white men, no surprise there. U.S. Census data shows the population is 90.6% white only. Jennifer Kavanaugh, a senior political scientist with the Rand Corp, told AJC that candidates with Doles' background see opportunity in the current political climate because of the circulation of disinformation on social media and divisive rhetoric among parties. And let me expound on that. When she says about the rhetoric that they put on social media, many of them, including this guy, I'm almost certain, know that the rhetoric that's put out there is false. But because it's put out there and they want to play dumb, they're going to run along with it because they know that a lot of their supporters are just as dumb, are dumb as well. But the thing is, these people who are like falling for it, quote unquote, but they're not falling for it, they know the light at the end of the tunnel for them. But they know that their supporters are dumb. This goes back to what 45 said when he said that a lot of his supporters are dumb. And he was talking about mainly his white supporters. He actually said that out of his mouth and they still laughed it off and continued to support him. And I said in that moment, they proved his point. A lot of them are dumb. They will hang off at every word. If he just says something, if he looks up in the sky and says, I'm going to decide today that the sky is not blue, they'll say, you know what, Mr. President, you're right. It isn't. What color do you think it is? Oh, I think it's orange. Well, then it is orange. See what I mean? For candidates who are in extreme wings of a party, this is an environment in which they see opportunities, she said. If you can wrap yourself in the cloak of a party, you can win a pretty sizable support base, even if you have other factors that would previously be disqualifying. Doles, in a March 8th tweet, said he is now fully qualified for the Lumpkin County Commission candidacy. The primary election is scheduled for May 24th. And this is why people need to know who is running for what. Because you have whole Klans members running for office or running for a political position, and they're qualified for it. Like, they just ran back this man's resume dating back to 1993. We're talking about almost 30 years ago. Starting from, with him being in the Klan, him having a position in the Klan, him beating a black man, going to jail for 4 years, then going to jail again for federal weapons charges. Now he's renounced racism in 2020. I wonder what made it happen. I wonder if it was what happened with George Floyd. Because, for some reason, that was the year that a lot of WS claimed to turn over a new leaf. But let's be real here. And this is something I've said. Harvey has said it as well. The main reason why a lot of them was going out there protesting for George Floyd is because they were bored. They were stuck inside the house. It was quarantine. They needed a reason to go out. Because like Harvey also said, the following year, when it came about with Derek Chauvin being on trial, where were all those supporters then? Oh, that's right. Outside was open again, so they could care less, which basically tells me if quarantine wasn't a thing back in 2020 when George Floyd was murdered, it would not have been this big spectacular event. Because let's be real here, a lot of people were just out there because like I said, they were bored and they just needed a reason to go outside. So why not? Let's just join right in. Many of them weren't there because of what happened with George Floyd. Let's be completely honest with ourselves there. And I called that out then. I said, there's a lot of people outside. I wonder why. They needed a reason to go outside. But yeah, this right here is a perfect example of why you need to know who you're voting for. Because you got people like him that's going to slip right in. Like, this guy should not qualify to be in this position, but they say he is. And what's scary about it is there's a good chance he might actually win, because like I said, if you heard what he's leading with on his campaign, the whole "you will not replace us," that is a major dog whistle to white people, especially white men, because they peddle it the most. We're going to combat against wokeism and CRT. He's hitting all the cylinders. He's firing off all cylinders with this to get their support. So he will say just about anything to get those votes. And all you can do is hope that he doesn't win. Because if he does, I don't know what's going to happen. But they said this is in North Georgia, like in a rural area. So when they said rural, they didn't even have to tell me the percentage of how white it was. Those two words right there, rural in particular, let me know who was there and who he was catering to. Y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell to be notified for whenever I upload a new video or go live. Okay, so this is an interesting development right here. This is literally a couple days after me recording the initial first 13 minutes of this video, because this article that I found on Complex just came out on March 21st. So I'm sorry, about to call him Charles. Chester Doles, the person who was once qualified to run for office in Georgia for that position, has now been disqualified for running for office. And do you want to know why he's been disqualified? I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with his KKK ties or him being a former Klan member. It has everything to do with him being exposed as a convicted felon. Now, on the one hand, I'm saying good, because he didn't qualify to begin with, considering everything that we now know about him. But on the flip side, it's like, that's it? You got him because he was a convicted felon? That was all it took? What that's telling me, and anyone else who is aware of this man's story, as far as we know, is that, fine, you can be a convicted felon and not be qualified to run for office, but you're telling me that you are qualified. Let's take away the convicted felon part. He's qualified if he's a Klan member, which wouldn't surprise anyone, because I have been saying it's a lot of Klan members all up and through a lot of these political offices, whether on a local or a federal level. So that's what I gathered from that. Nothing to do with his Klan member ties or him having a pretty high-ranking position as a Klan member in whatever chapter he was a part of. But just him being a convicted felon was enough for them to disqualify him, which, like I said, says to me, if this man was not a convicted felon and they knew of his Klan ties, which they definitely did, he would have still been qualified to run for office.